Well, we're going to have Ethan Lax giving us the sports wrap, the ARBOR sports wrap, in just a few minutes. Right now, we're going to listen to a feature on a game that's very pleasurable on a day like this, tennis.
Everywhere you turn, it seems more and more people are taking to the tennis courts. From the young up to the old, millions enjoy the sport and its superstars like John McEnroe and Chris Everett Lloyd. Recently, I spoke with Ethan Lax, a member of the men's varsity tennis team here at Fredonia State. What do you think accounts for the popularity of tennis?
Well, mainly the popularity of tennis is due to the fact that just about anybody can play it. From the childhood level, you don't have to be 6'4" and 220 pounds to go out for the high school tennis team. And later on in life, you can keep playing no matter how old you get. People play tennis well into their 80s and 90s sometime, whereas if you are, say, a basketball or a baseball player or some other sport, generally your career will end around maybe age 30, 35, 40 if you're lucky.
Do you feel tennis has changed much over the years?
The equipment has gotten a lot better, and people have been playing it more. So while the actual structure of the game hasn't changed, the places where it's being played and the amount that it's being played is certainly very different now. For example, very rarely would you see, like in the winter, indoor tennis clubs, they now have parties on weekends and special rates and everything, because so many people have started playing the game from the 70s on into the 80s, and any place that money can be made, the money will be made.
For someone just starting out in the sport, you have any suggestions for the best way to learn how to play tennis?
Well, a lot of practice is always the best way to learn anything. Whether you're taking formal lessons or whether you're watching on television or whether you're watching people play live, there are lots of good ways to learn. What I would recommend for starters is start with good equipment. Start with a basic tennis racket. Don't go out and buy yourself a $100 graphite tennis racket. It's not going to do you much good until you really know what the graphite is there for. Get a good solid $25 wooden racket with good solid nylon strings. Don't waste your money or time on gut. It just gets ruined in the rain anyway. Just start with good equipment and have an interest. And when you learn something, make sure that you practice to follow up on it.
Do you feel there are any visible differences from men's tennis compared to women's tennis?
Very much so. If you're talking on the professional level, especially, the women's points will last a lot longer than the men's points. They are mostly baseline players. The difference being in basic foot speed and quickness. Obviously, your men are going to be a little bit quicker, so they will be more apt to play a serve, run-to-the-net, volley type game, and it would be like bang, bang, boom, the point is over. Women are more into keeping the ball in play, trying to out-stamina your opponent, make her run, tire her out, run her side to side. So women's tennis, if you want to say it's more tiring, maybe, if not more tiring, it certainly lasts a lot longer in terms of the amount of time it takes to play a single point.
Finally, for anyone here on campus who feels they have the talent, how can they get involved in the Fredonia tennis teams, and who should they contact, and when should they be looking for tryouts?
Well, if you're interested in playing tennis and aren't sure whether you are good enough to make the team, the first level where you can play just for fun is, of course, intramurals, and it's an individual sport. You don't have to go out and gather your own team. It's played in tournament form, where everybody is out there for themselves trying to win the intramural tennis tournament. If you feel you're a little better than that and would like to try out for either the men's or women's tennis teams, tryouts are generally, they start the second day of school in the fall semester. We play a fall season because we don't have enough time when the weather gets nice in Fredonia in April, if the weather ever gets nice in Fredonia in April, to get a season in. But in the fall, if you're interested, just bring yourself, your racket, good pair of sneakers, and a desire to work hard. Because a lot of people think that when you're playing tennis, it's not much. You go out there and you have a good time and you get done and you just hang out with the guys and drink a beer. It's not quite like that. It's treated as if you were working out for a football or soccer team. The exercises are tough. There's a lot of running involved because you have to be in shape to play tennis like you have to be in shape to play any other sport. If you are serious about the team, I would urge you to play. We are losing a lot of our players to either transferring on both teams, and a lot of the senior women are graduating, and it's going to be a lot of open spots next year, and it's going to be very competitive. But if you're interested, come out and play.
Reporting for High Noon Friday, I'm John Gear.
Well, thank you very much, John Gear, and with us is Ethan Lax.
What a coincidence.
Hard to believe you've been in two places at once.
Seems like I've heard this voice someplace before, doesn't it?
Well, Ethan's going to give us the Arbor Day sports report.
Well, Arbor Day is certainly my favorite day of the year, Dave. And I tell you, if anybody's listening and is in nearby range, you have about 5 minutes to come down here and watch this great tree planting ceremony that we're going to have. It's going to be a lot of fun, so do try and get out here if you can. Well, let's get right into the sports. If you decided not to watch the hockey playoffs because the regular season was boring, then you're missing some great hockey. Last night, the defending champions and overwhelming favorites, the Edmonton Oilers, scratched and clawed their way to a 7-4 win over Calgary. This evens up their series at 2 games apiece. All the other series are also tied at 2, as St. Louis stopped Toronto 7-4. The Montreal-Hartford and New York Rangers-Washington series, they both resume tonight. The NBA playoffs have yet to be proven to be exciting, with the exception of the Washington-Philadelphia series. Last night, the Bullets forced a 5th and deciding game with the Sixers with a 116-111 win last night in Landover, Maryland. Game 5 will be in Philly Sunday afternoon. All the other matchups are on tonight or already completed. Denver eliminated Portland last night, while Atlanta will try to dump Detroit, and Dallas will try to end Utah's season tonight. Baseball yesterday, a great game in St. Louis as Howard Johnson's 2-run homer in the 9th, and yes, George Foster's single in the 10th led to a come-from-behind 5-4 win for the Mets. The Mets have now won 6 in a row, and Foster just got lucky.
Let's go Mets.
All right. Now, in other National League action yesterday, Chicago beat Montreal 7-5, Philadelphia beat the Pirates 4-2, and the Reds blanked the Astros 3-0. In the American League, the Yankees defeated Cleveland, who is beginning to return to midseason form, 2-1. In the American League's other game, Oakland's Jose Rijo pitched a 2-hitter and struck out 14, but lost because those 2 hits were home runs. Seattle beat the A's 3-1. And before I get into our final Arbor Day sports story, I'd just like to show everybody something that Dave Ramirez gave me today. If everybody's watching now, Dave Ramirez bought his first pack of baseball cards this year, and he got Mookie Wilson in the first try.
Let's hear it for Mookie Wilson.
Dave Wilson. Dave Ramirez. Dave Wilson. Dave Ramirez picks up the first Mookie Wilson card of the year. But finally today, there are some famous athletes, past and present, who eagerly await Arbor Day each year so that they may be properly honored. So today it's time to pay tribute to some very special Arbor Day athletes. You ready for these, Dave?
I'm ready.
Okay, we'll start out with Tree Rollins. Yay, Tree Rollins.
Tree Rollins.
Tree Rollins. Stump Mitchell.
Stump Mitchell.
Cliff Branch.
Cliff Branch. That's a good one.
Yeah, Bud Harrelson.
Bud Harrelson.
Wilbur Wood.
Wilbur Wood.
He's slowing down over here on me. Jacques Plant.
Jacques Plant.
I have to pronounce it like that or it doesn't make sense. Bobby Maples.
Bobby Maples.
Don't forget Reijo Rootsalainen. Can't forget him.
Yeah.
Len Barker.
Len Barker, right.
All right, we got Bill Root and Tree Pratt. These are 2 guys who I never heard of, who Joe Cows said, believe me, these guys are athletes. What the heck? Woody Hayes.
Woody Hayes.
Famous coach. And Charles Barkley.
Charles Barkley.
Right now, there are some other ones that some of our great WCVF staff thrust upon me before the show today. I should give them some mention. We'll start with Leif Erikson. Now, I bet you didn't know Leif Erikson was an athlete. He actually played with the Vikings. Okay. He says we have to include Spud Webb because even though it's not a tree, you can plant a spud. I don't know about that one. Dave Ramirez, sitting right next to me, mentioned Bob Apodaca. If you've never heard of an Apodaca tree, you're missing quite a sight. And, of course, everybody's favorite, World B. Tree.
Well, thank you very much, Ethan Lax, and keep all those people in mind.